Hello, my name's Michael Conneely and I'm making this video from near our healing centre in the far west of Ireland, and it's about Ashlesha Nakshatra. The Nakshatras are the 27 lunar signs of Vedic astrology. The perception they give us is unparalleled, vast, powerful and beautiful. And it accurately describes our emotional nature and our consciousness arising therefrom. So you can find out about your nakshatras by having a reading with me, and it'll include nakshatras, or you can do my nakshatras course, work through a study of each of the 27 nakshatras, and then learn the powerful astrological analytic methods using the nakshatras for relationships declaration, for health declaration, and so much more, for understanding why certain people will always be very dicey for you and other people very good, finding out how to identify those, what to do about it. So, as I said, there are 27 nakshatras, and we're talking about the 9th nakshatra, Ashlesha. Now, the nakshatras are in 3 groups of 9, and so each of them arise out of the void, as it were, and run through a development of 9 and return to the void. And those void points are called the Gandanta zones. The Gandanta zones are where water signs dissolve into the void, and then across the void the first flicker of the fire sign arises. And so if you have a planet, in my opinion, 2 degrees either side of that Gandanta, you're in the void. And that means you know that this world isn't actually real. You know that it's unreal. The qualities of your planet won't feel substantial. If it's the moon, mother won't be there for you. If it's the sun, your fathering will not leave you solid. It's, only Vedic astrology can declare this. It's one of the first things I found out about Vedic astrology, which started me off on it 22 years ago. And the 9th nakshatra, Ashlesha, is actually therefore heading into the first of the Gandantas, the end of the water sign of Cancer, the void, and then Leo, the first fire of light, the other side of the void, Magha nakshatra, springing up out of the void into a new cycle of manifestation. So it's a difficult nakshatra, and it often gets a bad rap. If you've got planets here, you need to hear about the dangers of Ashlesha nakshatra. You need to heal them, because otherwise it ruins your life and you can hurt others. It's not an easy nakshatra. Nakshatra astrology doesn't pull punches. Some nakshatras are openly declared to be difficult. So basically, in terms of the sidereal zodiac, Ashlesha spans 16 degrees 40 Cancer to 30 degrees Cancer, the end of Cancer. And the ruler is Mercury, which makes you very, intelligent, conceptual, analytic. And the ruling deity is the Nagas, or the serpents, a very ancient awareness of the divine, serpent energy, very, very old, but very valid, very powerful. And we'll be finding out about that. And the power animal is the male cat, but the gender is female. And in terms of the gunas, well, all the first 9 are orientated towards rajas, or desire, springing up out of the first, the beginning Gandanta between Vedic Pisces and Vedic Aries. So rajas, drives the person into manifestation. But the gunas are analysed to 3 levels, as it were. So Rajas first, but in the case of Ashlesha, it's Rajas, Sattva, Sattva, and Sattva is spirituality. And thank goodness for that, because it's a difficult energy, and yet they are orientated to become sattvic, to see the problems of that emotional state which their soul chose this lifetime. And so in fact there's a Gana or a caste feature to every nakshatra, and the Gana is Rakshasa or demon, and the caste is outcast. So that shows, in the wisdom of the Vedic sages, the sort of energy we're talking about. And the star in the heavens is the Hydra. So again, that shows where, what we're focusing on. So let's look at the keywords for Ashlesha Nakshatra. And if you want to find more about it, have a reading. My readings website is www.starwheelastrology.com, or do my wonderful Nakshatras course, www.nakshatrasadvancedcourse.com. But you need to know some Vedic astrology first. So I have a foundation of Vedic astrology course, and I also have a wonderful foundation Western astrology course. And of course, all my courses have Western Vedic astrology crossover. I think you need both to make the most supreme declaration. You don't have to do both, but if the person wants it, I offer it. So, Ashlesha keywords. Well, ingenious, versatile, very fluent, imaginative, and can be artistic. But I think there's a definite money-minded streak, and at its worst, it's someone who'll do anything for money. And they have something of a reputation for being subtle, or even too subtle. Can even be cheats and liars, playing mind games with those they defame or defraud. And they are incredibly controlling. Even when they evolve spiritually, they have to watch that they're not controlling, because otherwise they surround themselves with passive sidekicks who they hypnotize. Think of it. The power animal. The translation of the name is the entwiner. So it's serpent energy. It hypnotizes people so they can control and hypnotize. And that actually disempowers the people. Even if they're teaching, they can disempower their students and not realize it. It's weird what can go on. They're very shrewd. And, they can be quite finicky, penetrating, intense, hypnotic, wise, profound, secretive, deceptive, evasive. But they're ambitious and they're full of conviction, so they're business orientated and can be heartlessly greedy. And they can, at their worst, be untrustworthy liars and cheats. And their attitude to hurt is formidable. They're vengeful if they feel humiliated or hurt. And they naturally tend to be crafty, devious and controlling, and it can, at its worst, be cruel and wicked. You see, the nakshatras are novelistic. I think Charles Dickens' novels and George Eliot's novels, that technique should be used to depict a nakshatra personality. You need to be novelistic, and the whole point is we're not wallowing in the negativity, we're describing it accurately, we're giving good perception so that each of us can see the defects, can purify ourselves, can heal, can empower. You don't want false spiritual bypass where, you just sort of put on a pious look but don't sort yourself out inside. An accurate novelistic depiction like this is a gift. And remember, they're ruled by Mercury, so Mercury here can be shrewd and manipulative, and his negative sides are evasion, deception and deviousness, and that needs to be watched out for. It's an energy of great torsion. A difficult childhood can produce this, and sadly, of course, as is so often the case, this can affect our consciousness and, create mental instability periods, as, so many of the nakshatras. And it can create a lot of worry, fear and melancholy. It's a sensitive nervous system, and they have to watch against psychic invasion or self-deception, certainly. thinking they're so much more spiritually evolved than they are. But, and this is the point, with all this mysticism and with this serpent wisdom, there's great potential for redemption. There is great potential for redemption and transcendental perception. So, favourably, they can become the leader. They can accomplish things when motivated. They can gain good wealth. They can put energy into things that interest them. So yes, the serpent energy has its obvious poisoned, forked tongue facet, but it also offers penetration, concentration, intuition, insight. And so if you have an emphasis in Ashlesha, you can use this to develop, you can harness the instinctive wisdom. You can develop occult systems of awareness, esoteric knowing for your good and healing and for the general good. So in fact, when it's activated and sorted out, the defects always need to be looked for. Beware pride, beware self-perception, self-congratulation. But if you do that, it brings mystical power, electrifying Shakti, and spiritual enlightenment. I won't go into the negative details, and they are quite legion. I'd like to end on the positive note. So, you get in touch with a reading. My readings are worldwide, they're very expert. I always seek to combine Western psychodynamic astrology, Western evolutionary astrology, and the vastness of Vedic astrology. And how wonderful if you want to do one of my very caringly taught courses.